Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a deeply fascinating, honestly almost hidden frontier of the human mind. We're looking at the lucid awakening. So go ahead and take a deep breath, settle in, and just let your focus narrow down to the journey we're about to take. We're going to break down the exact sequence of how a mind wakes up to its own potential, while the physical body is just fast asleep. It's an incredible phenomenon, and we're literally going to map out the anatomy of how this realization unfolds. And here's a crazy fact from the source material. During certain phases of sleep, your brain is actually more active, literally burning more energy than when you're wide awake trying to solve a complex math problem. It's wild. And it's right there, within that electric state of subconscious processing, that we find the threshold to lucidity. I want you to just imagine this exact scenario right now. You're inside a dream. The world around you is moving, it's shifting, playing out scenes just like it always does while you sleep. But here's the kicker. You aren't just a passive observer watching a screen anymore. You are right there. You're wandering through the vast, completely unpredictable landscape of your own subconscious. It's this slow, unhurried, almost floating sensation. Now, physically, your body's locked in a state of REM atonia, which basically means you're temporarily paralyzed to keep you safely in bed. Yet your consciousness, it is completely untethered. You're fully immersed in this rich, sensory space where the rigid laws of the waking world simply do not apply, even if you haven't quite realized it yet. But, as our sources point out, reaching this threshold of lucidity doesn't just happen by accident, right? It actually requires this very specific, deliberate preparation phase. You have to do the groundwork in your waking life for this moment to ever occur in your sleep. And that means actively observing your dreams night after night, treating them as experiences that are actually worth analyzing. It's about setting your intention before you even close your eyes. What you're actually doing here is building what cognitive psychologists call perspective memory, basically the ability to remember to do something in the future. By questioning your reality during the day, you are literally priming your brain. You're training it to alter its wave activity and sustain higher levels of gamma frequency, all so that you can eventually wake up from within. So because of all that careful neurological preparation, you eventually reach this moment where everything changes. You're walking through that dreamscape and suddenly something just feels slightly off. And it's not some massive, obvious disruption, okay? It's not a loud noise or a sudden nightmare that startles you. It's just different. It's a small, incredibly subtle detail in your environment that just doesn't quite make sense. Maybe a shadow is pointing toward the sun. Or, maybe you casually notice your child's dog is having a fluent conversation with you about the stock market. Or gravity just decided to tilt 15 degrees to the left. It's just a whisper, a tiny anomaly in the fabric of your dream. And so the crucial point is, in that exact moment of encountering the impossible, you do something neurologically remarkable. You pause. You remember the preparation you've been doing, and you ask yourself this reality-altering question: am I dreaming? Now, this single question is an incredibly heavy cognitive lift. See, during normal REM sleep, your dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is the logic and critical thinking center of your brain, is mostly powered down. That's exactly why we accept totally bizarre dream plots without even batting an eye. But by asking this question, you're essentially jump-starting that dormant part of your brain. It brings your waking consciousness right to the very edge of the dream state. Let's move along and see how this builds. Because to answer that profound question, you perform simple reality checks. You're physically testing the laws of the space around you. First, you might look down at your hands. Next, you try reading a piece of text. And finally, the ultimate test, you gently pinch your nose, closing off your airway, and somehow you can still breathe perfectly fine. No way, right? But why do these specific tests work? Well, it's because your brain's internal rendering engine actually has spatial processing limits during REM sleep. When you look at your hands, the brain really struggles to dynamically maintain a stable image, so your fingers might warp or blur or multiply. When you read text, look away, and look back, the rendering engine literally drops the memory of the original text, and the words almost always scramble. And then it happens. The hazy narrative of the subconscious just drops away, and this quiet but incredibly powerful realization washes over you. This is a dream. You've crossed the threshold. Your consciousness has fully, beautifully bloomed right inside the sleeping mind. Researchers in the field actually often describe this exact second as a profound cognitive shock. It's a sudden, brilliant awareness where the light switch of consciousness is just violently flipped on inside a previously dark room. It's a moment of profound clarity and absolute grounded presence that is just unlike anything else we can experience. And this brilliantly illustrates the staggering shift from a normal dream state to lucidity. We move from that strange, vaguely disorienting fog where things just passively happen to you, directly into a state of intense, crystalline reality. Suddenly, everything becomes completely clear. The colors are sharper, the world around you feels intensely vivid. It feels, honestly, more alive. In fact, a lot of people report that the lucid state feels far more real than waking life ever has. Neurologically speaking, this happens because your hyper-connected neural pathways are firing all at once, totally uninhibited by the external sensory dampening we usually experience in the physical waking world. You are truly awake inside your own mind. But here's the catch. This newly discovered moment requires absolute calm. It is entirely natural to feel a massive rush of adrenaline when you realize you possess this kind of freedom. I mean, pretty much every seasoned lucid dreamer has a mildly embarrassing story from their early days where they realized they were dreaming, got wildly excited about the prospect of flying, and then instantly jolted their physical body awake in a cold sweat. Yeah, it happens. So to maintain this state, you must deliberately suppress that excitement. You can't rush. Instead, you have to substitute that thrill entirely with pure, still awareness. Look, if you take anything away from these anchoring techniques, let it be this. Your focus is your tether. These specific steps are literally the blueprint for staying grounded in this fragile new world. The very moment you realize you're dreaming, you have to pause. Take a deep, conscious breath within the dream. Look around and take in the rich details without reacting to them. And here's a highly advanced technique from the source material. Gently rub your dream hands together. This simple action stimulates the sensory homunculus in your brain, forcing your mind to process tactile feedback. That locks your awareness into the dream body rather than the physical body lying in bed, stabilizing the whole dreamscape around you. Because this moment of stabilization, it's really just the beginning. The second you realize you are dreaming and firmly anchor yourself, you've successfully stepped onto an entirely blank canvas. And so, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative final thought to carry with you tonight. In a world where your thoughts literally, instantly shape the physical reality around you, what will you create? The potential of your own mind is absolutely limitless, and it's waiting right there, just behind your closed eyes.